Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Talking Bollocks with me, your host, Howard H. Smith. The H is for horse shit. I does this podcast. I sing in UK thrash band Acid Rain. I host the Motorcast, the official Motorhead podcast. I also host The Reducer, a football podcast. And you get a few others coming down the pipe. This particular pipe, you get Movie Bollocks, you get Old Bollocks with my good friend Stephen Oldhead Ivy, and you get me doing this twice a month. So, as you'll have already seen from the description, that we have got two UK bands. One, a scene regular, one that some of you may well have heard of and that I do a guest appearance, and one who only has a few songs out. But let's go into that in a bit. First up, as always, it is the news. Before I do that, patreon.com/Howard H. Smith, or click the link that says something amusing like please help me out, and sign up at Patreon for more of this shit if you want. Okay, so now I've got all the news stories lined up that I want to comment on, but then I just thought I'd have a last minute check, and this is what I saw. These are the news stories currently as they appear on Blabbermouth. First story is Wasp, who are doing a tour with playing the whole first album. Right, great for them. Okay, I'm not going to surmise all the stories, but I'm just going to say first story, Wasp. Second story, Slayer. Third, Rage Against the Machine. Fourth, Def Leppard. Then it's Sebastian Bach. Then it's LA Guns. Then it's Dragon Force. Then it's Kitty. Then it's Serge Tankian. Then it is Vixen. Then it is AC/DC, then it's Saxon, then it's Ozzy and Black Sabbath, then it's Heart, then it's Vixen again, then it's Accept, then it is Corey Glover, then it is The Offspring, then Slipknot, then Nile, then Black Sabbath, then Slayer, Sabaton, Pussifier, Striper, Warrant, and you might have picked up a theme, yeah? What the fuck? What the fuck? It is just old bastards, isn't it? And I speak as an old bastard, one of those old bastards on the metal scene. It's just like, I don't know, maybe it's Blabbermouth. Maybe, do you know what? That's probably it. I need to fucking pull my head out my arse and check out. Get out there. But the trouble is I've tried, and they're even more fucking, what's the phrase, clickbaity than Blabbermouth. I'm sorry, it's just absolute drivel. But here are the stories that I saw recently, and I just look. Bruce Dickinson explains how he was able to turn his aviation business around. Iron Maiden singer Bruce Dickinson spoke to the Mirror about how he's able to save his long-running, and I'm just like, why is this even here? This is literally a business interview with a singer from a metal band about a business. I was going to say that has nothing to do with metal, but hey, if an aeroplane isn't heavy metal, then what is? Literally heavy metal, made out of metal, heavy, Motorhead, Bomber. I mean, it's all there, isn't it? It's all. Sorry, this is a brilliant article. This and yeah, the fact it's to do with business and profit and loss and rationalising workforces and a £400,000 net loss and then trying to turn that round. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? Are you all? Is anybody still there? Yeah. I've kind of made my point. Next up, Creed's Scott Stapp. Yes, he who thinks that God himself or herself, or frankly, if thing even exists, some cloud-dwelling being, he thinks that that being is a Creed fan and has a hand, has basically paid particular attention to Creed and made their comeback even bigger than he thought it would be. Well, Scott Stapp and his wife divorcing after 18 years of marriage. So there you go. What can I say, Scott? I'm not going to ridicule anybody for 18 years of marriage is 18 years more than I have managed. So there you go. But it just turns out that maybe God, fanny a band, not a fan of the marriage. I don't know. I said I wasn't going to take the piss, and that kind of is, isn't it? In fact, if I'm not going to take the piss, why have I even fucking read that out? But I remember why. Because basically, that's the headline that I've read you, and the next sentence is, out of respect for their families, Scott intends to navigate this difficult time privately, a representative said. And that's it. So that is 2 sentences, that is 4 lines. And then there's a line about originally filing for divorce, and then there's just a load of stuff about Creed. There's nothing there really. Now, Eloy Casagrande explains decision to leave Sepultura and join Slipknot. It was complicated. And as said on this very podcast at the time, it's pretty much exactly how I speculated it. Basically, he's in a band that were doing their final ever tour and splitting up at the end of it. He's 33, didn't want to commit to an 18-month world tour that was basically then like, well, what do I do now? Slipknot have stepped in and gone, dude, are you available? And he's got to look after himself. Sepultura are quite right to think, what a twat, he's dumped us in it. And he is quite within his rights to do what's best for him and his future career. I absolutely get it. Basically, both parties, well, not both parties, but, Sepultura completely, bona fide, feeling aggrieved. Absolutely. How could he do it to us? But if one of them was 33 and it was the other way around, they do exactly the same. That's it, basically. So, yeah. Poor bastard, though. I mean, it really is one of those just fucking hell, rock in a hard place. And you got to feel for anybody who's put in that position. But at the end of the day, clearly they want to be, Slipknot are going to be celebrating their first album, and they think he's a better option than, the guy they had in there whose name I can't remember. There you go. Anyway, moving on. Kerry King wants to bang out second solo album shortly after completing From Hell I Rise touring cycle. That is great to hear. And I have to say, really, really enjoying From Hell I Rise. Yeah, there you go. I said it. I'm not going to go into a deep review because I'm going to be getting, or DX Ferris and I are going to be no doubt pulling it apart very soon. So look forward to that. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm really liking the thought of a new album. Cool. Right, next up. Slipknot performs without Clown at 2024 Sonic Temple Festival. And I just want to say, I want to ask the question, you know what's coming. Did anyone notice? Does anyone care? Yeah. Did somebody else have to get a baseball bat and hit some old barrels? Is that what had to happen? No. Not worth replacing. Just not even worth replacing. Clown by name, clown by nature. You all know I'm not keen. Now, this story. Watch Sebastian Bach perform Skid Row classics in insert town here. Doesn't even say high quality footage. But I mean, how many times can you run the story Sebastian Bach performs Skid Row classics in insert town here? That story has been running constantly for the last fucking 5 or 10 years. And it continues to fucking run. I do not... Who out there can't get enough of Sebastian Bach video footage? And it's not even high quality this time. Performing Skid Row classics. Who fucking cares? And finally, Body Count releases Psychopath single from upcoming Merciless album. Now, the reason I've mentioned this is fair dues, Body Count, new album coming out, cool. But I clicked on the link to watch the video. Now, this is something that is just absolutely, totally took me by surprise. I clicked the video and I was like, oh, wrong video. It's another band. And it was like, heavy bands video, female singer. I don't know who it was, but I was like, oh, they've used the wrong link. I'll search for the video on YouTube. So I went to YouTube, searched for the video, press play, same band pop up. It's a fucking advert for another band. It's their video. Sort it out, YouTube. You can't do that. Certainly not to 54-year-olds. It freaks us the fuck out. There's the video. I'm clicking the video, and instead of like adverts, I mean, yeah, okay. So I finally noticed in the corner that it was like, 30 seconds ticking away, and then it was like skip now. But fuck off. And no, it wasn't the label. The label hadn't done this. This is literally, this is another label going, oh, well, let's stick one of our fucking band's videos on the front of the new body count one. Absolutely fried my fucking brain. And that's enough of that. Anyway, right, moving on. First up, as I said earlier, Enquire Within, a band I have toured with, a band I like, and a band I have performed a single with. And their EP, Elysium, is out as you hear this, containing the song Seeds of Destruction, featuring yours fucking truly. And actually, I'm also doing a guest appearance and performing that song live with them tomorrow night. So you won't have got that. You won't have got this by then, because it won't be out yet. But anyway, there you go. Some useless information for you. What is not useless is the EP. Sounding fucking great. It's out. Go look for it. But hey, instead of me banging on about it, why don't we have me, and more importantly, Dan, banging on about it now? And whilst I remember, also mention we did this in a Costa coffee. Occasionally, you can hear a fair bit of clattering. Okay, so shoot me. That's how it rolls. Come on. Anyway, interview now. So let me set the scene for you. We are in a Costa coffee. You might hear the occasional making of coffee in the background. We've moved to try and get away from it. And I'm here with Dan from Enquire Within. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Howard.
Hello. Last time we saw each other was in the studio, I do believe.
It absolutely was, in the very freezing January in Ashford.
Was it January?
It was January.
Bloody hell.
Second week.
Right, yeah. All I remember is just the weird drive out there, which was just through icy puddles, which was bizarre because there was no ice where I'd come from.
Fields either side, canals.
Yeah. Oh, it was proper. If you were going to kidnap somebody, that's the kind of place that you'd like hold up.
Typical cabin in the woods style, we'll call it.
Yeah. It'd be police would be putting out messages going like, no one knows where they are, and we need some tip-offs, and eventually when they reconstruct the Crime Stoppers how they were found, it'd be like, wow, that's like literally the middle of nowhere. So anyway, that's some geography of where we filmed. So how did it go? Because I was only there for a few hours, as always, total professional. Rock up, smash my vocals out, get out your hair. How was it? Because it seemed like you had a really cool vibe going.
Yeah, so it was a really good experience. Band down there.
The two Dans.
The cool Dan and me.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But it's at the Joplin House. It's really interesting because we've always been in this sort of mostly digital setup with recording, but he tends to run things very analog. He's got a big desk there, and he's got his own live rooms and a separate vocal booth. So in terms of what you're able to do there, it is quite limitless. And Dan in particular just has a really good way of working with, and I'm going to single out Henry because he can be rather challenging at times because he's the drummer. He's very particular, he wants things in a certain way. But Dan's got a way of working with him where it's not too many takes. So it went really well. You came down on Thursday?
Something like that.
Yeah. So we were about a day ahead of schedule because of just how well Henry had done recording. Yeah. So that's why it was as complete as it was when you got there.
So I think what you probably experienced was what most engineers / producers will tell you, which is ultimately getting the sounds up. That's the easy part. Even if people don't know what they want, then you manage them to something that's good. But the hard part is getting the performances. The hard part is managing the artist, and that's often why you have an engineer who's, you know, Rick Rubin's a prime example. He doesn't go in there and start twiddling knobs. He is going to let whoever the expert is at the desk do all that. But he's about managing the artist, and that is where a producer's role really comes in. It's like becoming part of the band and managing them. So if you're doing the sounds and managing the artist, that is like, yeah,
it's
super
a big
hard
job.
work. Yeah.
Absolutely huge job. But it helps that Dan and I can sort of manage everyone else. I can't manage myself. It doesn't work that way. You need to be objective.
Yeah, absolutely.
But between us, we can manage everyone else in terms of, no, you're playing this and it should be this. Or, ooh, I like what you're doing, but can we get it a bit more in this feeling or that?
You just said something that I totally recognise from 35 years ago and up until this day, and it's the conversation in the studio of, what are you playing there? Oh, right. Well, this is what I'm playing. Or like, hang on, you go to a B there. Oh no, I do. It's just like, yes, yeah. And still to this day, it's unless you've got one guitarist laying everything down, in which case those conversations don't happen, but they can still happen. They there you go.
Yeah, so I was the only one doing guitars there in this EP.
Oh, did you have the argument with yourself?
I had the argument myself. I was like, you're playing a B, you're supposed to play a D there. No, but we got to doing bass, and we're getting to the end of one of the songs, Sins of the Father, I think, and Aaron's on bass playing what was written, and it's like, this doesn't fit anymore, what's going on? And so I walk in and go, oh yeah, by the way, I changed it.
Yeah.
Because it fit better doing it the way that I ended up doing it, so I had to walk him through what I did. And it's having a really solid idea. We had the demos, I did stems and everything to send to Dan. It was really professionally done. But we still got there and went, oh, maybe it could be better if we did it this way.
Yeah.
And just having a little bit of wiggle room to explore, I thought that was really important for us. We've not had that before.
No, you're spot on. It's pre-production is getting that. It's like I always talk about, like you get the songs. Invariably, you put the songs together digitally, and then you get it to room ready status. Then you play it in the room, and you get it to studio ready status. And then in the studio, you can still have things. And sometimes it's like, you know, the producer will say, "How about doing this here?" or "How about doing that here?" And or especially because drums invariably go down first. If you've got a producer who says, "Oh, right, like why don't you try that there?" And the producer and the drummer go like, "Oh yeah," and then like, "Oh yeah, that really grooves. Oh, that's great." And then you come to put your guitar on it and you go, "Right, that's completely changed the feel now. So I now need to do something different to fit with that." Don't get me wrong, it's like, it's cool and everything. It's just, I've now got to change what I've been doing for the last 6 months. You know, but it's good for the song, and if it's good for the song, then yeah, it's good for the band.
Yeah, frustrating as a musician. You're like, I just spent 6 months learning this, and now you're asking me to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, you work with it on the fly. We had to change a couple solos around to make it fit better, because when you're doing demos, you just sort of, that'll do, that fits. It doesn't fit.
Well, the thing is, bands are full of, you know, they're all artists. They've all got a voice. They've all you know, invariably all want to say. Not always the time, but not always the case, but a lot of the time. And it's kind of like, you know, you're all pushing and pulling all the time. And some can have, you know, more a clear idea of what they want, and it's other people's job to either facilitate that or push back against it to make it better. You know, it's not fun if everybody has their own way all the time.
No, we had, I'm not going to call it an argument. We had a very spirited discussion.
I was going to say heated discussion, yeah.
Between me and Henry on the drums of one of the songs. Did not like what I did, because I wrote some guide drum parts of, I want it to sound sort of like this, but obviously you're the drummer, fix it. And so he fixed it, in inverted commas, and no one liked it apart from him.
Right, okay.
And I think the issue was that what I'd written was quite challenging. I mean, I'm sure any drummer can relate to, oh god, the guitarist has written the drum parts.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's like, I don't have 7 hands to make this work.
Yeah.
But he changed the feel of it to make it more playable, which changed the whole song.
Right.
And we ended up in the practice room for about 3 hours just going, okay, well, let's scratch it from the start, let's go back. What could we put on there? And we spent about 3 hours getting to the point of, so basically what I wrote is the only thing that kind of fits.
Yeah.
So how can we change that to make it better for you? And did some things, moved some symbols around, blah, 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 technical stuff. But having to manage my own expectations of, I already know this is what's going to work because I've spent hours trying to write it, and not just being a complete dictatorship of, no, just do what I say.
Yeah, yeah.
And letting him have his creative spark and do his job.
Well, Mark asks for demos with a click track, so he knows, you know, if that's a fast part, that's a slow part, but that's it. So he doesn't get stuck in a box, as he calls it, by hearing, and I know exactly what he means, because as a singer, if I've had a melody line for a part, and then go, right, yeah, no, it's not really working, you have to change it. The old one is always in the back of my head, and it's really, really hard to change, so I know where he's coming from on that.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't think, it's tough. It's tough, whether you're a singer, bass player, guitarist, whatever, when someone hands you something and says, that's what you're doing. Because it's like, yeah, it's a straitjacket. And it's like, oh, you know, can I just change something so I feel like it's a bit more me? You know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you kind of, you learn to sort of get over in time.
Yeah, I think luckily we're quite, Henry and I at least, are quite almost telepathic of, I know his style so well at this point that I know roughly what he's going to do, and as long as I don't overcomplicate stuff, I don't care what he does.
Yeah.
Change whatever you like it, like normally. I know I've just had a whole conversation about, but just with this one song, it just was not working.
Yeah.
I've actually got video footage of you in the vocal booth saying, yeah, can we just get rid of that guitar bit? Because I'm going to follow it.
Yes, yeah. It's like it will mess with...
Yeah.
It will give me ideas, and I don't want to have any ideas, I want to fuck about with it.
Yeah, and one, I knew it was going to happen, so I was like, yeah, that's fine, not a problem with me, I don't care. But I'm so glad you did say it, because the part you came up with is way better than what we had initially there, because what we had initially was very sort of placeholder. It felt very placeholder.
Right, okay.
It wasn't a complete part, because Jacob was like, oh no, well, H is going to sing this bit, so I don't need to do this. This is just a backup. He hates the song, doesn't want to do it.
Mate, you could have written the worst song ever, I'd have probably still sung over it. You know, that's the ego you're talking to here.
It's the arsenic that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. So the EP is called
Elysium.
Yep. And how many tracks?
7.
Okay. You don't seem completely sure.
One's an intro.
Ah, right. Okay.
So we split one of the songs into 2. Because it flows better that way, but it was written as 6, and then
and the highlight of it, of which of course is Seeds of Destruction featuring yours truly. It's not, folks. It's all good. It's all good. And an EP, not an album. What was the thinking behind that then?
So it was twofold, really. One, creatively, and 2, management-wise. So creatively, we wanted to do an EP because it allowed us to be a bit more experimental with songs. With an album, we felt at least that it had to be fairly consistent across all the tracks, of like genre or style, roughly that they fit together and make sense together as one piece. Yeah, just going to pause for a second while that goes.
Yeah. There's a lovely a coffee being made at the moment. It's been relatively quiet here so far, but you know, don't worry about it. So you just, because I know there was a original thinking about maybe reworking some old songs as well. Is there a time element as well? Because it's like if you want to put an album out, you need another 5 tracks really.
Yeah, that certainly played a part of it. So originally, when we were signed to a label, they wanted us to release 4 singles in a year.
Right. Okay.
That was the ask, and we went, okay, that makes sense. Stay relevant.
Yeah, is that 4 singles? Is that 4 songs, or is that
They wanted 4 songs to be released, say every quarter, for example.
Yeah.
Just so that you're constantly in the Spotify algorithm and things like that. It's a very mechanical, boring reason.
Yeah, but I get it from their point of view.
So do I. That's why we were like, okay, that makes sense. So we wrote Final Seal, did that, and went, oh, it's quite good actually. Not that we were expecting to write shit, but from where we were on Rebirth, our previous album, to that single Final Seal was like, oh, that's significantly better. We're surprised we were able to do something of that quality. So like, maybe we should take some more time with the rest of them, and maybe they should be together. And we're having all these conversations, should we do an album, should we do an EP, should we stick with the 4 single idea? And then we left the label.
Right.
It doesn't matter why, but we left them. It's like, oh, now we can make our own decision as to what we want to do. We've already released a single, but that's fine. Whatever we release next, Final Seal will be on it, because one, it makes sense, it's already written, but also that's the model of what we wanted to go forward with.
Yeah.
We really liked the vibe, we liked the genre, we liked the way that the parts had come together. It felt very Enquire Within.
Yeah.
We try not to be too sort of mono-genre or mono-subgenre.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I think this EP is way more. It's still, for me, you've been around and people know who you are for a while. But for me, this is the sound of a band kind of finding their sound, which is hugely important, because you stop becoming a cover band of yourselves, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And when I came in to the studio and heard Seeds of Destruction, I was like, fucking hell, this is not what I was expecting at all. And we've played a whole load of shows together, and then so I thought I knew what I was walking into, and it sounded completely different.
Yeah, so I think Erin described it best to me. For those who don't know, our bassist, he joined right before we started playing together, actually. Right before the tour, Acid Rain. He produced our first proper album and our second one, and then joined us.
Fair enough.
He joined us out of convenience, to be honest, because we asked him, oh, could you play? We've got some shows coming up, you know our parts, please. But we just sort of gelled and meshed.
Yeah.
And he said to me, the Enquire Within sound is all about that sort of groovy, heavy riffs, with those really cool solos on top and the really thrashy bits. But if you just have a really fast thrashy song, that's not an Enquire Within sound. It's got to have that smash your face into a wall, heavy, groovy bits to it, elements. And so with Final Seal in particular, we had a modern thrash song, and went, okay, well, how can we make this more authentically us, rather than trying to sound like Power Trip, trying to sound like whatever.
Yeah.
The wonderful Evil. I'm going to get slapped for a second. So the idea was to try and rein it back in, stop being in our head so much, and just focus on what do we want to listen to, what do we enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Seeds in particular, which was the second single we wrote to be released as part of those 4.
Yeah.
The other 2 did not see the light of day. They were not good.
Right. Okay. But it's good. But it's good when you. But it's good. No, but it's good when you get a song like that, where you get a song where it's like, right, that's the benchmark.
Yeah.
That's the one. We're working on a new album at the moment, and the benchmark is if it's not good enough to be on the last album, it doesn't go on the new one. So, it might sound way different, but if it's not good enough, then
Yeah.
Off you go. And by the sounds of it, you had that kind of like that bookmark in place where it's like, you know, you've got that benchmark and it's like, right,
this is it.
Yeah.
If it's not...
That's the standard.
If it's not as good as this, why are we bothering?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would you want to play it? Why would you want to listen to it?
Also, you said something there as well, which I recognise as being painful, and that is trying to take a song and improve it. And it's like, for me personally, over the years, what I've decided is just bin the fucker. Just fuck it off. Otherwise, it'll always be that song that used to be something else that's now got other bits cobbled onto it. But you'll never really fully commit. And if you're me, I can never fully really commit to it. It will always be like the runt of the litter, and it's just like, do you know what? I'd rather just sack it off and maybe use some riffs from it elsewhere when they're appropriate than try and, like, you know, carve it, make it work. That is a nightmare.
Yeah, and so with the two singles that didn't make it, we had full demos, vocals and everything. And we looked at it and went, feels a bit forced, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
I could go back and rewrite this part, change this bit. What's the point?
You know the phrase you're looking for? Strip them for parts.
I was thinking shit shit out, but okay.
No, just strip them for parts.
Yeah.
You know, you just go, like, at one point, you're like down the road, you're writing a song and you go, hey, you know what would fit here, don't you? Remember that fucking song that we just couldn't get right and we've been? What about putting that section here? Oh my God, it's like it was meant to be. I mean, I've been in that situation where you go, it feels like that was what that part was meant for. You know, the good bits find a home, the bad bits just disappear and never see the light of day again.
We don't talk about them.
Yes, yeah. They're that member of the family who did that thing, and they're on holiday in that building that they're not allowed out of anymore. Yeah.
They live somewhere else now.
Yes. So it's interesting that it's like you're being honest and saying there's an element of control freak about you.
Yes.
Which is, you know, every band's got one. And how does that translate live? Because that must be like your worst nightmare. Or are you able to switch and go, right?
A little bit. I think.
Right, that's no.
No.
Little bit.
Yeah. So I used to be worse. This is where all the mitigations come in. No, so I used to be very particular of, no, it needs to sound, this is what's written, it needs to be this. And that's just not helpful, because maybe I wrote this song and so it's in my language.
Yeah.
And trying to get particularly a new guitarist, as we found, training one up, that's hard. Learn how I do this phrase. It's not going to work.
No.
So you've got to have an element of, okay, I wrote it this way, you play it that way, but we're both guitarists, so it needs to sound as one.
Yeah.
Listen to what they do, listen to what you do. There is a middle ground, there's always a middle ground.
Yeah, and also the thing is that it's like, it's managing people.
Yes.
So what you've just described is, if you sit down with anybody and give them a laptop and say, open a Word document for me, you will see a Word document opened in a way you never even thought of. You put 10 people in front of a computer and you'll see 10 different ways of opening a Word document. I've seen so many of them. I know it's like a bizarre example, but I have. Like, some people will right-click on the desktop, search the program, open it. I was like, Jesus Christ. Some people will go straight to a shortcut of Word document opening. Some people have one Word document constantly on their desktop that they will then open, and then they will open new, and it's like, wow, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Show, you play somebody a riff, and if they've got a good ear and they pick out all the notes, they'll still play it differently to you. and it might have a different feel, but that's when that live sound appears. And that's why you don't track guitars once and then just cut and paste them and put it into 4 times, because it phases, it sounds horrible, there's something wrong, it just doesn't work. That's why if you're going to track guitars 4 times, you need to have 4 separate takes.
Yeah.
And it's that same kind of theory. It's like, it might be different, but it brings something to it.
Yeah, it's just expanding on that. I think it's the same reason why, you got 2 verses, they're the same, you play it twice. You don't just copy and paste it. Because you're going to do something different in that second take, whether it's you just hit it a bit harder on this bit and it really jumps out or whatever. You want those little differences to make things sound unique, but also just to make them sound real, like a real person has played this. They've thought about it and they've done this.
Oh, especially vocals, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'll always go in and make each chorus different, even if it's only just slightly, because it's so easy to just go, well, we just take that chorus and shift it. Now, don't get me wrong, do that in demos? Fuck yes. But no one ever hears those. But yeah, you've got to just make everything personal. But to go back to live,
yes,
better than you used to be.
Yes. So I used to be very hot on. No, your palm muting slightly too far to the bridge. You need to bring it up more so it gets more percussive and things like that. I was like, who cares? No one cares.
Yeah, and also
no one cares.
You might be walking around at that point. You might have that hand off the guitar, not playing it at all.
Yeah.
Fist bumping a member of the audience. If you're focusing too much on the instrument, you're not performing. Exactly. Yeah.
People are there to see you play.
Yeah.
Yes, they want to hear you play the songs and they want to hear you play them right. But they want to see you play.
Yeah, you want to play for people, not at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good way of describing it. I've been in far too many meetings at work and people are just talking at people rather than with them.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it's such a different discipline.
Yeah.
Live and studio. There's, I'm trying to think of an aspect of the arts where there is such a different, or anything in entertainment. It's like, take football for example, like training. Well, it's football, you might just not go at it as hard. And then there's a crowd there, and but it's still boxing. It's still the same thing. It's still sparring, and then under the lights, and it's different. But whereas like live and studio, I mean that's like The Office, and going out and piss up with your mates. There's just like there's almost no connection there other than like the songs.
Yeah, it's really strange, isn't it, when you realise that you go into a room and you practice and you don't move, you practice the songs. Is this bit right? Are we locking in? Are we playing at the same time here? And then you get to a gig and you're just like, that guy in the third row's got our shirt on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I missed my cue.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens.
Yeah.
And you've got to let go and live in the moment.
Oh,
so I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned over my 7, 8 years playing live. It's just live in the moment and just really enjoy what you're doing. Because you've already put in all the hard work to make sure you do it right.
Yes, yeah. I mean, this is effectively the fruit of your labours. Is getting to go out there and play your songs live for people who actually hand over money to see you. That's massive.
If you're not enjoying it at that point, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, as much as I do like working in the studio, I really do, and I love like crafting something together and collaborating with a producer, and like I'll try anything in the studio. So I'll try a harmony here, and certain things I won't budge on, and I'll invariably end up explaining why. But other times I'm like, go with that, go with this, whatever. I'm perfectly open to it. Always have been. Especially with vocals as well, because they're so subjective. I mean,
a long time ago, and then I bet that you guys didn't work like this, but when we were first recording, I think it was like either Plan of the Damned or was it Plan of the Damned and our very first single and The Man Who Became Himself, which was the first time we worked with Jace. I was like, vocals get done without anyone else being there. See you later, guys. It's like it's your producer, engineer, and the singer, and that's it. And they work on it, and that's the finished article, because it's too subjective. Guitars, like, you're slightly out of tune there. Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll just move this slightly, and now I'm in tune. Whereas, I don't like what you do there. Oh, I do like what you do there. Oh, that's my favourite bit. Oh, I hate it. That's of no use to anybody. Yeah. Absolutely no use to anybody. And the last thing you want as a singer is like, how about trying, like, dude, like this is like what you were saying about drums earlier, times a million.
Yeah.
It's just like you've just got no idea here. So, and yeah, it's so I mean, like, fair play to Jacob. I presume he put vocals down with all of you in the room.
All but once, but that wasn't on the EP. He kicked us out one time for a very different reason. I kept making him laugh.
Oh, that's fair enough.
He could see me through the glass.
Oh, that's fair enough.
And he went, "You out," and it's the first time he's ever been that authoritative with me, and I was like, "Do you know what? Good on you. You know what you need.
Yeah.
Kick me out."
Yeah, ever since our third album back in 1990, I've always worked just with like it's vocals with producer engineer, and that's it. And you just go at it, the two of you, go backwards and forwards, nail it. There you go, guys, it's finished. So fair play to Jacob on that score.
He's very good at that taking feedback. But I also try and be very specific with the feedback I give. It's not, I don't like that bit. That's not helpful.
No, it's not. But mate, honestly, I just couldn't do it.
It's also not, could you try doing it a bit more this? But sometimes I'll be like, maybe this will work better with a bit of distortion. And he'll be like, yeah, okay, or no, it won't. And he's got final say.
Yeah.
But I try and be very specific with what I'm asking for, if I am asking for anything at all.
Oh, he's a better man than me. You'd be, you'd all be outside, locked out. Yeah. Not your department.
But I think what you're saying comes back to something we were talking about earlier before this about vision. You know what you want.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jacob and I work really closely together on all of the parts now. I mean, I've been writing some other stuff post the EP, it's not relevant, but when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. And so I send him something, and it will be maybe 30 seconds. It's like, is this shit or has this got any merit to it?
Yeah.
And he won't tell me I like it, I won't. He goes, nope, you're not crazy, that does sound good. And then I'll go and write something for it.
Right, yeah.
Rather than just, I'm going to spend like 3 days writing a whole song and send it to him. How's this? I don't really like any of it.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to work, was I would write the whole thing and then send it to everyone and they'd give notes and then I'd change things. Whereas this way's more organic, so it feels a lot better.
It's about as close as you can get to jamming without actually all being in the room together, isn't it?
Yeah. We try jamming and we can jam stuff really well, but it's not Enquire Within music. It's just like, do you know when you go into like a jazz club?
Oh yeah, you fuck about.
Yeah,
you're just noodling.
Yeah. It's not an idea.
Yeah.
It sounds cool, but it's not.
Well, funnily enough, there's a part on here. There's a part on the phone that we're recording on this that was recorded pre-Age of Entitlement, which I absolutely love. But it's just not Acid Rain. But it's just a different groove altogether. But I've still got it. I've still kept it, and I still, every time I see it there, I go, oh yeah, I remember you. I'll play it to you afterwards.
Maybe one day you could fit that branch into your solo career.
Oh fucking hell. You're joking, aren't you? No, definitely not. So, what are the plans? You've got a new EP coming out.
New EP
Elysium.
coming out 31st of May.
There we go.
And there's the line.
Yep, 31st of May. Everybody.
Yeah,
Elysium by Enquire Within. Available everywhere.
Available everywhere you can find good music.
Yeah. Available at all bad record shops.
Well, yeah. Available at our Bandcamp. Go to our Bandcamp.
Yes.
Get money for that one.
Yes.
Not that Spotify isn't important. But anyway, yeah, so it comes out the 31st of May. We've also got a gig at the Black Heart the 31st of May.
Well, I know that.
You do know that. Why do you know that?
I know that because I'll be there.
You'll be there.
Yay.
Yay.
So come on down, kids.
Come on down, come to the Black Heart. It'll be really good because you'll be performing Save the Destruction with us.
I will indeed, yes.
You will be, and it will be.
Was I supposed to say that? And I'm just like, but I'm now thinking, saying I'll be there. But it's like, well, yeah, I didn't actually say that I was going to be like getting on stage and doing that. It's like, oh right, I'll be there. I'll just be stood hanging out, you know.
You're stood at the back with binoculars.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't like that song.
Yeah, and then you intro the song. Oh shit, yeah, I'm supposed to be on this one.
Oh shit, maybe I should do something.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fine. What's been really interesting, as a side note, what's been really interesting is watching Jacob try to adapt your parts for when you're not there.
Oh right. Oh yeah, that'd be good. Oh, that must be interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Oh yeah. An out of body experience for the man.
Yes.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I digress. 31st
Yes.
of May. Right, so yeah. So we're playing at the Black Heart. We're playing with two of our good friends, the guys from Halberd, who you've played with now.
Yeah. At
Kingston.
Kingston. Yeah, very recently. Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. I call them Party Thrash. They might slap me for calling them Party Thrash. But every time they play, it seems to be a party, so
Yeah.
it's a very good night. And the Toxin, who are also a thrash band from London, who we've played with a while back, actually, probably about 5 years ago. So it's all very much sort of the local metal London scene.
Yeah. But if you
With
want
a smash of rain.
but support the scene, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, well, I live in London. I suppose that does make me part of the scene. You know.
Take the underground, that counts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I did here anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time out and having a chat. And everybody, get down to the White Heart, the Black Heart. Anything else you want to mention other than Bandcamp again?
Yeah, Bandcamp, absolutely. We've also got tour dates. We're going on tour after the Black Heart. It's the first day of our tour. Check our website for tickets.
Yeah.
We're going all over the place.
Well, where is
Fuel
all over
Club.
the place? So you're going back to Fuel?
Going back to Fuel Club, she loved it there. We're going to Bannerman's Edinburgh.
Oh, legendary. You're going to be staying in the Bannerman's room as well.
We've been given the loft.
Yep, absolutely.
We're also doing a few gigs more local to us in Bromley. We're playing the Red Line in Gravesend.
Oh, yeah, know that.
It's kind of a blast from the past, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we played there many years ago.
Yeah, so the bloke from the Toxin is now who books gigs there.
Ah, right. It's
So-
really weird, by the way.
Yes.
It's really weird.
Well, we've played there a few times.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. So
right.
We used to do Metal to the Masses there.
Oh, it freaks me out, that place. Or rather, it did the one time we played there. It was just like, this is mental.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, so we're playing a few places. We're playing Brighton later in the year, in September.
Right, yeah.
And we're hoping to put a few more gigs in towards the end of the year, still over the country, but check our website,
Yeah.
enquirewithinband.co.uk, or check our socials, Facebook, Instagram, it's all on there.
There you go. Remember where you heard it, folks. Thank you very much, Dan.
Cheers, H.
And there you go. That was Dan and I having a chat. Again, it's a long time since I've done not that long, but it's a long time since I've done a live one with background noise. And yeah, that can be pretty annoying, can't it? So unfortunately, nothing can do about that. But I hope you enjoyed the interview. Get the EP. It is cracking. So please, there you go. Now, next up is Exhaust. EXAUST. I think they've got 4 songs out. That is it. And they hit me up, brass balls on it, right? They hit me up and said, any chance of coming on the show? And I was kind of like halfway sort of typing a message going, well, to be honest with you guys, I've looked at your Instagram. You've got 4 pictures. You know, you've got very few songs. I mean, you're literally right at the beginning of your journey as a band? Hang on a minute. This could be quite interesting. This could be like the opposite of most bands that we have on. In fact, most musicians that I know. These are guys just starting out. How cool is that? That might be really cool to get. So, what the hell? And it's a kind of a perfect double header with Enquire Within as well, who are making their way and starting to make some real headway. But these guys are right at the beginning of their career. And I also thought, well, what you don't ask for, you don't get. And the balls on them, to just go, yeah, have us on then. Why not? We've only got 4 songs. And yeah. So I thought, God, why not? Why not have them on? And this ended up being an absolute blast. These guys absolutely love the thrash metal. And we start out talking about Nuclear Assault and all sorts, and it's great to listen to such enthusiasm, and just some guys pumped for what may be happening in the future and what's to come. It was just really cool, really cool. Enjoy. Well, speaking of Nuclear Assault, it was weird for me at the time because about, God, I think it's under a year before we did that tour with Nuclear Assault, I was getting autographs from John and Anthony at Sheffield University when they played there, and I went across to Sheffield University to see them play.
Yeah.
No way.
And within a year, probably 9 or 10 months, we were on tour with them.
That's fucking...
I know, totally weird, right? And I mean, as we get into the tour, John sort of took me under his wing. Well, whether he took me under his wing or we just got on, both being frontmen, so we got on. And by we were sort of halfway, 3/4 of the leg through the tour, I could say to him, like, "So, John, that guitar sound on Game Over, yeah, shit, isn't it? Yeah. What happened there, mate? And he's like, man, they said it would sound better in the mix, and we learned a lot making that record." And I was like, "So, John, Stranded in Hell, ring Satan's bell, really? Hey, you seem like an intelligent guy. What's with that then?" And he's like, "Yeah, Dan's not writing any more lyrics." Just top boys. We couldn't have toured with a better set of guys. We really couldn't. They were just class. And then on that second tour, we on that first tour, we did the UK leg, and we had I think 5 or 6 shows in Europe thrown onto the end.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one of the band left on the last UK date. Literally gave a note to one of our crew and went home. So we had to do the next gig as a 4-piece, and then we had 4 days off. And John was like, "Hey, you need another guitarist? Cool, not a problem."
Really?
He knew, he used to watch us nearly every night, and he was like, I can definitely play, like, I can play Goddess, I can play Life in Forms, I can play Suspended Sentence. He's like reeling them off, and we were like, "How come?" And he's like, "Well, so I'm watching you every night." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." So we're like, okay. So then we get a rehearsal space in Amsterdam for 3 days, and every day we're in there rehearsing with John, and it was just mad. It was absolutely mad. And then then we played the shows, and he didn't want introducing as John Connolly. Like, every night he would put gaffer tape onto his face to make it look to like a moustache and a little beard, and he wanted me to introduce him as Frank Zappa every night. So I did, but every night I say it's Frank Zappa on speaker, but it's not. It's John Connolly. We wanted to show off. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Also, we thought we'd get an easier ride from the crowd if they knew John was like on guitar.
Yeah, literally.
But it was totally mad. But anyway, the reason why everything started like that, by the way, listeners, is because Dan is wearing a nuclear assault tour. So, and I am. So all of that makes sense if you're watching the video. So feel free to nip over to the YouTube channel. So so welcome Dan and welcome Ethan of Exhaust.
Thank you for having us. Hello, hello.
Yes.
Pleasure,
Nice time.
pleasure. So I'll have done a whole intro about you know, the reason you're on is for basically having the balls to
Yeah.
having only like one EP out and I think about 4 songs available for public consumption, and sent a message going, "Go on, then will you have us on?" And I just thought that yeah, you've got that amount of balls deserves rewarding. So
To be honest, I'm not gonna. I didn't know how big your podcast was at the time at all, and then I dug through who you've interviewed and shit, and I fucking shit my pants. Like
mine was just
like I was like Phil Devil. I was like, no fucking way, bro. Bro, I was just like, holy shit, bro. Like, you've interviewed so many big people, and then you want to interview us. It's like, what the fuck? But
yeah.
Oh well, to be fair, I don't know about want to.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't approach you. You approached me.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But well, why not? Why not? And also, I know Neil Brannigan very, very well.
Yeah.
I've known him for a very long time. So yeah, little bit of research on you guys in the meantime. And I guess kind of one of the overriding reasons why I wanted you on was literally the fact that you've only got like it's 4 songs in total available, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Which are on Spotify, and you're at such an early stage of your career that invariably anybody who comes on the podcast, you know, is even if it's a first album, that's quite, you know, deep into your career.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind where you guys are, which is right at the very beginning, you know, unsigned, you know, 4 self-financed tunes out, 1 EP, 1 3-track EP, and a new single out. And you're right at the very beginning. And a lot of my listeners I know are of an older vintage. So we're all kind of like, as a fan, as a listening experience, we're deep into our careers.
Yeah.
And I just thought it'd be interesting to find out from you guys exactly how the landscape is at the moment, how it is, you know, what it's like trying to get gigs. So let's just start there, shall we?
Yeah.
You know, what's it like trying to get gigs?
Well, I think since having Neil as manager, it's been a lot easier. He's thrown a lot
100%.
He's thrown a lot of opportunities our way. But I think before that, it's not been an easy ride. Like, for example, we got a gig. I booked this in Fuel in Cardiff myself. We got Hellfected to come and headline, and then it's like us, the main support. This thrash band from Bristol, Marta, they're going to be supporting as well. And I paid them out of my own money, £200 to come down. So I'm hoping we make profit off that. But I think it's just been like some venues have offered us some like support slots. And that's pretty much it. Like, or we've just arranged like a few gigs in Fuel, but that's literally it. To be honest, like we haven't really. But like since we've been with Neil, he's thrown us like 3 or 4
so
big
opportunities.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I remember like at the start, like before we had any gigs, we were like looking around. We were like, where the fuck do we even start with all this? And then this band called Brain Snail, they gave us like this gig opportunity. We were like, oh, we have to take this. So that was our first gig. It was in Aberdeen. Oh my God, I'll never forget that. It was an alright gig. I think
it was shit.
You know,
but it wasn't great. It was just like your family would come and just sit and watch.
But it was a good start for us. Like,
it gave us a confidence boost, and then there's a few other venues that got us to come on to play some support acts. It's just been going from there, from our own backs, really, literally.
Yeah, just asking a bunch of bands if they need a support act, and then just going to different like local. We went to a bunch of different like local social clubs, and we were just like, if you need like a band to support, or if you want a band to play here, we're all done.
Exactly.
It's been.
And being a thrash metal band, like going to a load of local clubs. I mean, is it as unpopular as now as it would have been back in the day, where you turn up
Yeah.
there, goes, what kind of
Yeah.
music do you play? And say
This
thrash
is,
metal, and they're like, yeah, okay, we'll take your details, but we're never going to ring you or need you, and we've
yeah.
never booked a thrash metal
This
band
is
before. We
why
probably won't ever do again.
it's so
Yeah.
frustrating where we
Pretty
live.
much it.
I swear to God, there are no metalheads at all. They're all just like chavvy fucks. It's like, it's not even metalheads. I just want to find like thrashers and people to just like, like an actual person
Thrash
who
scene.
appreciates the thrash scene and appreciates the thrash music, like from back in the day. And I'm so I'm so passionate about the 80s to like early 90s thrash scene. I love it so much. Like my favorite band is Violence, right? I think Ethan's favorite band is Violence as well. I
Yeah.
just love the attitude they have. The album is fucking quality. It's just the whole attitude and the whole everything is perfect. And it's just it's
Yeah.
like where
It's
we live,
literally just
where we live.
exactly what thrash is.
Well, you're pushing against an open door with me, because Violence are probably my favorite Bay Area band. Hence, I've
Yeah,
had Sean and Phil on the podcast.
that's
And
fucking mental.
I'd say what, go and listen to the Sean interview, because it's one of the favorites that I've done.
I've
Oh,
listened
you
to it.
have? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When I go to him, when I said to him, well, I do that with my band. He's like, oh, right, what's your band? Acid Rain. He goes, Acid Rain? Like, yeah. And he goes, oh man, that's really cool. And I'm like, fucking hell, Sean Killian thinks it's really cool. And funnily enough, I met Sean and Phil at Bloodstock that year. As I said on both interviews, like you're at Bloodstock this year, I'll catch up with you then. And I did as well. And it was really cool. What was really funny was that Rob Flynn was backstage as well. And it was just kind of like everybody was just navigating around each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sean and Phil, like, both really, really cool guys. But yeah, what a band. That's a great band to be inspired by. That really is.
Oh yeah.
Riffs, the vocal, it's the lyrics. I love the lyrics. I love
Yeah.
the whole. It's just so aggressive.
Drummer just looks flawless when he's playing. Like when I watch him live, he's just so flawless with it, and it's just like, oh,
They're fucking
like,
cool.
literally.
Also, when you with how are you with both albums? Because I'm a big fan of the first two.
Yes, the first two. I listened to the third. I didn't have a complete. I didn't have a clue that they had a third album released, but I listened to it. It's like, I forgot what it's called, but it's
Nothing to gain.
Yeah, that's the one. And
there's nothing to be gained by listening to it.
Yeah. There's one song I like on it. I think it's like the 12 Gauge Justice.
Yes, yeah, spot on. The one song on it. Yeah. Well done, yeah.
yeah. And he does like a one riff, and it caught my fucking thing. It's like the I was like, oh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love World in a World. Is fucking quality song. It's fucking amazing. But the whole Eternal Nightmare. Fucking love Eternal Nightmare. So I can play the whole thing. It's fucking awesome. Favorite thrash album. I fucking love Violence. I wish they could play because they've only played once with Bloodstock, and that's the only time.
I was there. I've been waiting since the album came out. Finally got to see him with 3 original members, because like they've gone now. It's just Sean now. Yeah. But it was awesome. It was absolutely fucking awesome. Perry is a top man, the drummer Perry. He wears Acid Rain t-shirts and shit all the time. He's mates with Cookie, our guitarist. And they've known each other for years. So it's really cool. It's really cool. And they're an awesome band. But it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting for people to hear that, like, trying to get gigs as a thrash band is still as hard and as unpopular as it always has been. So talked a bit there. I'm kind of interested to find out from you both how you sort of ended up getting into thrash, what your sort of personal heavy metal journey was that led you to thrash metal.
So
my dad, so I think it's just start off for me and I'll lead you into it, Ethan, right?
Yeah.
So my dad, obviously, he's a big thrasher, very big thrash head. He got me into all the music. Like when I was younger, I remember, this is the thing I remember, was with the Violence album. When I was like 7 or 8, he was playing it, and it was the album cover that got me. I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, it was really distinctive. It's like a fucking mouth. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That really like got me in the thing. And then he showed me the One by Metallica music video when I was like 9 or 10. And then I started learning guitar, and obviously my dad showed me that playing guitar. I wanted to fucking get into the metal. So I got into that, and then it kind of died down until I was in year 10 in school. And me and my best friend, who's a former member of Exhaust, we both played guitar. We were both into metal. We wanted to start a band. So I knew Ethan played drums because we used to have, we tried a project in like when we were like 14, but it just didn't work. So, you know, we're 14. But cool. However, me and Ethan, I talked to Ethan's girlfriend saying like, oh, does Ethan still play drums? And whatnot. And she was like, yeah. So we went over, had a little jam session. No offense to Ethan now, because he's a fucking brilliant drummer now. He was absolutely horse shit when we went to the practice, but it was, yeah, it went pretty well there. And then I think it was like me and Evan just joined, and then we just kind of like fucking sorted shit out. And I started really getting into thrash then. I love thrash anyway, but I started really digging deep. Like I started listening to Anthrax a lot. And then it went into like Nuclear Assault, and then SOD, and then MOD, and then like a Trophy, fucking Sacred Right. It all went led out. And then me and Ethan have just been like linking back and forth with it. And I think I kind of just got you into thrash, really. Like,
so like when we started the band, like Dan and the former member joined, and it was kind of like they just came in, just pretty much was like, yeah, no, we're sorting this out. So it became a 3-piece after a while.
Yeah.
And I was still, because I didn't listen to thrash at this time, so I was kind of like, oh, all right, it's a new type of music for me. So I had to do my homework on it. So I listened to a bunch of it. Dan sent me a bunch of recommendations. So I got really into it, and then I just tried like branching out on my own, finding like my own kind of interest in it, which led me to like, you know, Uncle Slam. Like that's one of my favorite bands at the moment. Violence and all, because he got me into Violence. And then yeah.
Violence fanboys, like,
Yeah, it was just, you could pretty much thank Dan for getting me into thrash metal. So that's how I got into that.
it was just
Right, so you've accidentally ended up as a drummer in a thrash metal band.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Dan, don't give it well and try and make out that's not the case, all right? I was sat here listening. Yeah, I was paying attention. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I love it.
Yeah, but hey, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you find the music or where you find the music. It's just that you find the music. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we've been back for 9 years. And funnily enough, there's still some people who are like, "Oh, didn't know you were back." And it's like, "Yeah, we've been back for 9 years." What? Oh God, and it's that people are always like, you know, "Oh God, I'm really sorry. I'm just looking now and all the gigs I've missed." And I'm like, it doesn't matter that you didn't find us until now. It matters that you found us. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good. It's all good. So you start writing your own tunes. I mean, was there a temptation? Because I always think that there must be a temptation to become a covers band, because as much as do you know what I mean? Especially you're at an age where you think, are we going to get taken seriously? It'd be easier to get gigs if we just play fucking covers, you know. In fact, you can probably play sold out gigs as a thrash covers band as opposed to playing to, like, you know, barely anyone, doing your own material.
Yeah.
So you know, was there a temptation to go down that route?
I think like
not really.
I think we like, obviously we had a few gigs, we played a few cover songs. Like, we still do like 2 covers now, but I think for me it was, we made the Pharaoh. I think we were 16 and we were practicing in a social club, and we created the Pharaoh. And we didn't know like what reaction we'd get, so we recorded it. Oh well, no, I think it was, we posted it online, and somebody commented and was like, "Oh, this track's that's actually really cool." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we went and recorded it. It cost us like £100 to record. It's not a great recording, but the feedback we got off it was fucking mental, and we were like, "Holy shit!" Like, and I feel like I don't want to like obviously it's alright to cover like 2 songs, but I don't want to go out play other people's songs as a whole set and get a reaction from it, because it's not. I'm not like it means more to me if there's like 3 or 4 people there fucking slamming their heads to one of my originals to like 50 people like slamming their heads to someone else's fucking riffs. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's
a completely different vibe. I mean, I was talking to a girl recently who's she was a club singer. She was a club singer for over 10 years. And I said, well, why'd you quit? She was like, earning good money and all the rest of it. And I was like, why'd you quit? And she said, I just couldn't sing those fucking songs anymore. I was bored to death. I tried to change it up. Every time you change it up, like, owners or promoters would say, can you like put set so and so back in the set and all the rest of it? And I was like, wow. It's such a different career, because it's like other than like a couple of covers here and there over the years, I've only ever sung my lyrics. I've only ever sung acid rain songs and played our music live. And then she's literally the other end of the scale. She's only ever performed other people's music. And it's like, as much as I might think, Christ, how many times in my life have I played Goddess or Motherly Love or something like that?
Yeah, but
I don't ever like introduce it and think, oh, fuck me, this again. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's still a buzz. But I can see how playing covers after a while, it's just like,
just gets
I'm not feeling this anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I totally get that, wanting to do your own thing, even if it is that much harder.
100%.
We were more willing to take the harder route than to just give in and play other songs that people want to see.
100%. You get noticed more as well. It's like it's your own thing. It's like you can find a better original version of the shit we're covering online. And find our it's just fun making more music as well. You can just experiment, do what you want. No one's there to fucking be like, oh, that doesn't go that way, it goes this way. You can just
you've strayed quite handily into an area that I wanted to talk to you about as well, which is back in the day, pre-internet, when nobody had electricity and we all lived in caves. Acid Rain was writing material and stuff like that. Now, we recorded our first album, signed a record deal, recorded our first album, signed a management deal, and then we played our first ever gig. Because there was no scene near us, so we just concentrated on our songwriting. And it was just like, you write, bored of that one, write and a better one, bored of that one, write a better one. Oh, has anybody asked about playing this anymore? No, drop that tune, write another one. So we must have spent 2 or 3 years meeting up every week, just working on writing songs. And so hence, I think that really helped develop our songwriting chops, and which is why we got a deal so early on in our careers. I mean, we were 17 when we signed with Music for Nations. Just after Metallica left, we were their replacement, as I always like to say. And it worked out well for them, not so well for us. But the thing is that we did all of that in private, whereas I think now bands like yourselves, you're growing up in public. It's like you we could put a demo out. Now, we'd spent years on it and we got reviewed in Kerrang. We were able to put a demo out when we knew we already had a record deal. So that's fine, But if our first demo, which Music for Nations turned us down on, and head of A&R at Music for Nations at the time turned us down. He then, Mark Palmer, went on to be head of A&R for Roadrunner. He's now head of A&R at Nuclear Blast. And he actually even rang up Music for Nations to say, wow, you've signed Acid Rain. I remember turning them down because they were fucking shit. Right. Because that's how bad our first demo was. If we'd put it online, I mean, I think we'd have taken an absolute kicking. Obviously, the concept didn't even exist. The point I'm making is you're growing up in public, putting songs out there, putting them online. I mean, that's fucking brave because I think
Yeah.
at any point you are going to get, you're just going to get the fucking trolls coming in going like, oh fucking hell,
Oh shit.
Mm.
fuck off, and that's terrible. I mean, is there any sort of thought about that? Is there any kind of like, oh, do we put this up or not?
Yeah, I think
Um, a little bit, but like when it came to our progress in writing songs, like the Pharaoh was always going to be there because it was the first song that like really kicked us off.
yeah, I
And
would say as well. I'd say the recordings we got. I wouldn't say that's like us. I'd say that's more of like a demo of us type of thing. Because it's like
yeah,
the recording was fucking cheapy to be honest, and we
Yeah, but
didn't.
this is insane. This is what I'm talking about. It's like it's your first song, and it's like it's already out there for public consumption. It's like,
Yeah,
our first song. I can't even remember what it was, but it certainly wasn't ever fucking recorded. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? It's like, so it's just such a. It's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm totally in awe and got total respect for you guys doing that. It's the way it is now, but I just
yeah,
think it's you've got to have a really fucking tough skin, a thick
yeah,
skin to do that so early in
yeah,
your
yeah,
career. And like I said, I keep saying, but doing you growing up in public, it's something that I was lucky enough never to have to do. And I think all bands are forced into it now.
yeah. They are. Yeah.
Um,
because if you don't know, it's kind of like,
No one's
what
gonna
are
know who you
you?
are. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And it's kind of also like it's like, well, we had demos and we posted them all around the world.
I
You've
was
got a
gonna.
demo, we stick it online, it's available all around the world.
I was gonna
But
say that.
it's available for everybody. The difference between a demo is people were asking for it. Do
Yes.
you know
yeah,
what I mean? And there was a certain cachet to having that as well. Whereas now it's just like, well, here's this music I've got no investment in and that I didn't ask for, that I'm just
Yeah.
going to sit in judgment of, and I don't give a shit whether they've been together 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years. I'm going to steam in with my opinion no matter what.
100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
fucking hell, guys, I don't know how you do it.
No, but that's another thing. I don't know how like back in the day you'd send your demos out and fucking I don't know how it used to work, but it's like I don't know what to
The post,
I
mate, the post. That's how it used to
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah.
We
Like
still have it now. It's how your
yeah,
Amazon shit arrives, yeah?
I, I just
well
don't know
done.
how it would work these days to like because like for like a record label or fucking whatever like that. I don't know how it works these days at all and how it goes because we're releasing shit, but I just don't think it's our full potential sound. When like for you example, you said you fucking songwriting for 3 years, sending out these demos that people wanted, and then you're getting featured on Kerrang and such and so, and then I just don't know how we get around like fucking getting sending it to record labels and that because they're not going to ask for it at all or anything like that.
Well, Well, I mean, there's an interview with, there's two interviews I do with a lady called Julie Weir, and she runs the metal imprint um, for, I don't want to say the wrong label, I think it's for Sony. And I mean, she's responsible for discovering and signing Lost Prophets,
No
and
way.
but also for uh, oh God, um, I always want to say Beyond the Horizon. It's not.
Oh, let's bring me the horizon.
Bring Me the Horizon. I always go Beyond the Horizon first. And she discovered and signed Bring Me the Horizon as well. And yeah, so she's responsible for and Bullet from a Bullet, I think, as well. So she's responsible for a lot of like big UK metals. And she
Yeah,
said, um, you email links, you know, um, but you send a bit of a bio, who you are, maybe a little sketchy details about maybe what the song or songs are about,
Yeah,
and ask for feedback. Ask for
yeah,
feedback, and just like, can you point us in the right direction? What you like, what you don't like, whatever. Because despite the fact you're not just going to go, right, this record label said this, so we'll do this.
yeah,
It's good. It's good to get feedback from people inside the industry.
yes,
yeah,
Um, uh, you know, because it gives you an idea of what they're looking for and where they're coming from. Um, and I mean, back in the day, it was very much a case of it was just to me, I thought it was fairly simple. We recorded a demo. I took half our budget and used it on recording of it and half on packaging it. Because my theory was if everybody sends just like a regular cassette to a record label, they got to be getting like hundreds of those a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we send one that's got full color artwork, the cassette looks like it's printed on the label. Basically, it's going to stand out amongst a pile of cassettes, and it's going to look like, and they'd be like, well, what the fuck why have we been sent this? These guys have clearly got a label. Oh no, they haven't. Oh right, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And it turns out I was right. And to this day, Music for Nations is still going, but to this day, Music for Nations have never signed. Well, they've only ever signed one band from an unsolicited demo tape, and that was ours all those years ago. But that is how difficult it was to break through, and it still is. You know, it still is. But there's nothing wrong with finding out who the person to speak to is in each label. If there's a metal imprint, who the person is, and I can help you out with some of this. And like send links to your latest demo and say, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. You know, can we have some feedback? Whatever. You might hear back, you might not. But you start building a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line where one of these guys who's maybe hopped around labels or whatever, and you followed them around, or they're still at the same label, but they always get back to you. And then at some point they go, do you know what, guys, you know, I've been studying your progress and you keep sending me, and it's like, you know, I think you're ready and we've got a space on the label, you know, let's maybe do something. Start building relationships.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's not, I just think, you know, fuck it, get stuck in. You may well get some harsh feedback initially, but if you're going to improve, if you're going to get to do this and put albums out and play with some of the bands that you've always dreamt of playing with and playing some of the venues you've always dreamt, then not everyone's always going to tell you how great you are. And that's, to be honest, it's like the old adage about being a boxer. You learn more from the fights you lose than you do from the ones you win.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, you know, you'll learn more from people who give you, you know, some negative feedback than you will from the positive. So go for it. You know, just get in touch with a load of people.
For real, 100%.
I'll put you in touch with as many as I can. So what are the plans? You've got a new single out. Is that just like standalone, or is there going to be a new EP?
So we're going to record a single coming up now in June, I believe. We got new members. You see, like we had me, Ethan, and this old member we had. We went to school together since we were fucking like 11, but he's gone to the army, so that's happening. But we got these new members, and they're fucking quality. So they got a good attitude. They're good at their instruments, and they got a good drive in them. So me and Ethan have got a vision. So we're gonna fucking try and put it together and see what happens. But we're gonna record this single and then release it, I'd say September-ish time. And then me and Ethan's plan is to get some songs down with these guys, and then maybe release an EP or maybe an album, because we got a lot of connections for lots of different things, and we want to release an album,
right,
or a more updated EP, I think, because
well, I look, you know, it's entirely up to you guys. You know, do whatever feels best. You know, I wouldn't say, I don't know, honestly. I don't know if it's like, you know, if it's better to release an EP, better to release an album. You know, other than the physical cost of buying an EP is cheaper, but the physical cost of making an EP is the same as a physical cost of making an album. It's like when we get approached for a one-off gig, and they're like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, so it's like, do you want to come and do this one-off show? And it's like, well, to be honest, it's like there's unless it's a massive fee, it's the same amount of effort, it's the same amount of prep for one show as it is for 5. Because if you're doing a one-off show, you're going to get together, you're going to rehearse X amount of times. Well, you know, once you've done that and played one show, you may as well like play another and another and another and another.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, physical cost of making an EP, if you're going to go down making physical product as well.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, it's maybe more, it's maybe just more cost effective to make it, an LP, but also there's such a backup now with physical product as well, that
Yeah.
if you would probably want to get it, but you start booking it in now for recording
Yeah.
in, like, 18 months time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Fucking hell.
So if you've got new members, how many?
I've got 3 new members. Got a singer, lead
Right,
guitar.
wow, so you two must be a right couple of cunts.
Oh,
Maybe.
maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Oh dear, a couple of Dave Mustaines here. And but no, but guys, yeah, you have standards. Simple as that. You have standards. You have standards when it comes to playing, and you have standards when it comes to commitment.
Yes.
And
That's
right
the thing.
now, the band is a hobby. Yeah, but that just because something is a hobby doesn't mean that you shouldn't be professional about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So I get where you're coming from. That's why I have no friends.
Yeah.
Same. But like with the members, we were like struggling for a very long time to get like a
Well,
5-piece.
I can't solo my fucking life, man. I can't rip a solo for my life. I'm shit. But I can rip. But we were missing, because Neil reviewed our EP and he was just like, oh, it's missing that solo, the solos type of thing. Because my solo on the theory is fucking shit. It's not very good. But the guy we have now, he can rip. He's what we needed. And it's like we were trying to get a few members here and there and that, but like they're like
very in there.
They're like in other bands and shit, and then it's just like they're not motivated the same as me and Ethan. They're just like, yeah, sure, I guess. And it's just like, bro, come on, we want to fucking drive this shit, and you'll just fucking
Whatever, man.
So
yeah. No, I absolutely get it. I absolutely get it. And you can't feel like, if anybody isn't as committed as the rest, it's like you're dragging somebody behind you, and you can almost feel physically that person's holding you back, that they're like an anchor, just like weighing you down.
yes.
Yeah, 100%.
But hopefully now we got these new members. Hopefully they can eventually get the same drive as us. And then we can get fucking going, because we got a few opportunities coming up, and I feel like this is a great fucking exposure to be on here. So hopefully we'll get more.
Literally.
Well, by the time this comes out in about 6 months, you'll have split up.
Yeah, probably.
No, it won't be that long, boys.
No, it's okay.
Well, look, I really do wish you the best of luck with everything, and look, thanks for coming on in here and and talking about everything. Really do appreciate it, and I wish you all the best, and I'm sure all listeners are going to be keeping an eye on your career as well, and I'll put links up to all your social media. But do you want to just like run through how people can find you, and what the various addresses are?
So you can find us on Instagram and Facebook with the same ad is Exhaust, EXAUST, and then _thrash. Spotify, it's just Exhaust, all capitals without the H. Same on YouTube. There's live videos of us on YouTube. But even if you find us on Instagram, we got a link tree with all our stuff on there. So
yeah.
Except a link to the music.
Yeah. No, the links to oh fucking hell.
Is it there? Well, don't worry about it. Anyway, look, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Really do appreciate it.
Thank you.